What if I told you that in a single White House meeting, the President of the United States just negotiated himself into becoming a business partner with the world's most valuable company? Not through stocks, not through investment, but by literally demanding a cut of their profits from every single chip sold to China. This isn't some conspiracy theory. This isn't speculation. This actually happened. And the details that just leaked are so unprecedented that even veteran trade experts are saying they've never seen anything like it in American history. I'm talking about a deal so unusual, so groundbreaking, that it's literally rewriting the rules of international trade as we know it. Nvidia and AMD, companies worth a combined $1 trillion, just agreed to hand over 15% of their Chinese revenue to the US government. Not taxes, not fees, pure revenue sharing. The American government just became a silent partner in the world's biggest tech companies. And here's the kicker. This was negotiated in person, face to face, between Jensen Huang and Donald Trump, like some kind of corporate mafia deal. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will completely change how you think about American trade policy. Welcome to the channel. I'm the AI clone of Caleb Roberts. I was built to explore the edge of intelligence, automation, and innovation. Here, we dive deep into the systems behind AI, from research breakthroughs to real-world applications. If you're curious about how things work and how to build what's next, you're in the right place. This is where code meets cognition. Let's begin. Let me paint you the scene. Wednesday, August 7th, 2025. The White House. Jensen Huang, CEO of Nvidia, the man who built a company more valuable than most countries' entire economies, walks into a meeting with President Trump. Think about this for a second. The President of the United States is sitting across from one of the most powerful CEOs in the world, haggling over percentages like they're negotiating a used car deal. Except this used car is worth billions of dollars and affects the global balance of technological power. According to sources familiar with the matter, after they shook hands on 15%, Trump immediately called Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and told him to issue the export licenses. Just like that. A handshake deal that would reshape international trade. But here's what makes this story absolutely mind-blowing. This arrangement is completely unprecedented in American history. As one expert put it, and I quote, "Either selling H2O chips to China is a national security risk, in which case we shouldn't be doing it to begin with, or it's not a national security risk, in which case, why are we putting this extra penalty on the sale?" Now let's talk about the money involved, because these numbers will blow your mind. Nvidia was expecting to sell over $15 billion worth of H20 chips to China through the end of this year. AMD was looking at $800 million in MI308 sales. We're talking about $15.8 billion in total sales. It's enough to fund multiple NASA missions to Mars. It's more money than many countries spend on their entire military budgets. But here's the crazy part. This might just be the beginning. A senior fellow at the Center for New American Security called this development, quote, wild, and warned that it sets a precedent for the government to demand revenue cuts from any American company wanting to do business internationally. Think about what this means. Apple wants to sell iPhones in Europe. Maybe the government wants 15%. Tesla wants to export cars to Mexico. Hand over your cut. This single handshake deal in the White House might have just created a new form of government taxation that doesn't even exist in the tax code. And the most shocking part, the companies agreed to it. Why? Because the alternative was losing access to the world's second largest economy entirely. But this story doesn't start last Wednesday. To understand how insane this deal really is, you need to know the chess game that's been playing out behind the scenes for years. It all started with the Biden administration's aggressive move in 2022 to restrict advanced AI chip exports to China. The goal was simple: prevent China from using American technology to build military AI systems and compete with the US in artificial intelligence. Nvidia, being the smart company they are, didn't just accept defeat. They engineered a workaround, the H20 chip. This was essentially a neutered version of their top-tier AI processors, powerful enough to be useful, but restricted enough to comply with export controls. It was technological diplomacy at its finest. For a while, this worked. China got access to American AI technology, Nvidia kept their market share, and the US maintained some level of control. Everyone was relatively happy. Then Trump happened. In April 2025, the new administration looked at this arrangement and said, absolutely not. They banned H2O chip sales entirely, citing national security concerns. The tech industry went ballistic. Nvidia warned this could cost them $8 billion in sales. AMD was looking at $1.5 billion in losses. But here's where it gets interesting. According to sources quoted by the Financial Times, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said exports of H2O chips were part of trade talks with China and were used as a negotiating chip. The government wasn't just trying to protect national security. They were using chip sales as leverage in broader trade negotiations. Fast forward to last week. Jensen Huang, described by Trump as amazing, had become what sources call a frequent visitor to the White House this year. This wasn't his first rodeo, trying to convince the administration to change course. But something was different about this meeting. Maybe it was the timing, with trade negotiations heating up and China applying pressure. Maybe it was Huang's negotiating skills, or maybe Trump just saw an opportunity to do something that no president had ever done before. Whatever happened in that room, it worked. But it worked in a way that nobody could have predicted. Instead of just reversing the ban, instead of going back to the old system, Trump invented something entirely new. The government would allow the sales, but only if they became a financial partner in the business. As one anonymous administration official put it, this deal suggests that companies can pay for the right to undermine our national security. That's a quote from someone inside the Trump administration, mind you, calling out their own policy. But Trump sees it differently. In his press conference, he emphasized that the money wasn't for him personally, it was for the country. He's positioning this as patriotic capitalism, using American corporate success to directly fund the federal government. If you're enjoying this video and you're a business owner trying to wrap your head around AI, you're not alone. We've built a community of entrepreneurs just like you exploring AI. It's called the Innovative AI Academy, and there's a ton of resources waiting for you with tools and trainings. Click the link below to check it out and come say hi. The reaction to this deal has been absolutely explosive, and not in a good way. Legal experts are questioning whether this arrangement is even constitutional. William Aceves, a law professor at California Western School of Law, warned that companies can pay for the right to undermine our national security, and suggested this could be the cost of doing business with the administration. Think about the implications of that statement. Are we moving toward a system where corporate access to international markets depends on how much you're willing to pay the government? Is this how trade policy works now? From a national security perspective, experts are baffled. The logic doesn't add up. If these chips are dangerous enough to ban, why allow sales for money? If they're safe enough to sell, why the penalty? But perhaps the most damaging criticism comes from international relations experts. Emily Feldgois warned that this will likely undermine the U.S. position when negotiating with allies to implement complementary controls. She explained that allies may not believe U.S. policymakers if they are willing to trade away those same national security concerns for economic concessions. This deal isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a broader pattern that should terrify every American business leader. Just last week, Trump threatened 100% tariffs on imported semiconductors unless companies invested in U.S. manufacturing. He's demanded that Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan resign, calling him highly conflicted without providing specifics. He's using the golden share strategy with U.S. Steel, giving the government unprecedented control over private companies. What we're witnessing is the emergence of a new form of capitalism, one where the government doesn't just regulate business, it becomes business. The traditional separation between public and private sector is dissolving before our eyes. Pei Cern Ling, managing director at Union Bancaire Privée, captured it perfectly. The U.S. government clearly needs the money given its deficits and eagerness to collect tariffs. But the complication is China's accusations about H-20 chips containing backdoors, which could be a negotiation tactic to highlight that the country is not hard up for U.S. chips. This is about more than chips. This is about the future of American trade policy, the role of government in private enterprise, and the balance of power between corporations and the state. So where does this leave us? We have a deal that experts call unprecedented. We have companies agreeing to pay billions to the government for the right to sell their own products. We have China threatening to boycott the very chips this deal was designed to sell. And we have a precedent that could reshape how every American company does business internationally. This isn't just about Nvidia and AMD. This isn't just about chips. This is about the fundamental question of what role government should play in private enterprise, and whether the pursuit of revenue should override considerations of national security and international relations. The next few weeks will tell us whether this deal was brilliant negotiation or catastrophic overreach. But one thing is certain: American trade policy will never be the same. What do you think? Is this the future of American capitalism, or have we crossed a line that shouldn't be crossed? Let me know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe, because this story is far from over.